Orders for everybody.
1 million shirts sold.
Deals every day.
Buy one, get one free.
I love working
Deals
here at
every
T-Shirt
day.
King.
Schools, businesses, and sports teams.
Yes.
Deals every day.
Mega stars like Kanye West.
Deals every day.
I got the best team in the world. Creative artists.
Deals every day.
Nah.
Over 1 million t-shirts sold, man. That's a sack.
It is, but I'm upset we ain't sold 2 million yet.
That's all. What's most important for you at T-Shirt Kings, man?
Customer service, man. Taking care of my customers, making sure that they major.
What about your team?
I got the best team in the world. They get busy. They love the customers. We got a saying, I don't gotta go to work, I get to go to work.
What are some of the different styles of shirts that you can get made here?
I got DTF printing. We are definitely the screen print kings. We turn that around immediately for you, which, by the way, is what separates us from other companies. Somebody will tell you it takes 2 weeks. I tell you it's gonna take 2 days.
Where do you see T-Shirt Kings like 5-10 years from now?
We're already the best t-shirt company in the world. We already are coming up with concepts that I don't see anybody else doing. You order 20 shirts, 10 of them are free. Bulk discounts, fast turnaround, and free designs.
Completely world class.
It's your homie C-Lock from Network and Chill, where the network is real and entrepreneurs build, man. Y'all come on and rock with us.
Sean Fields, man. Y'all know where to catch me every single Monday night. We coming with heat, man. Y'all better make sure y'all get y'all priorities together, man. We going over small business entrepreneurship, some financial tips, man. Pete, tell me, ready.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, hey, it's your boy Peanut, CEO of Dash Resource LLC. Your business is my business, and this guy needs a logo. Pharaoh.
Yo, it's Pharaoh. Yeah, make sure you at Gym City Market. Monday, December 19th, man. We there. Entrepreneurs. Yeah, come on.
Me. Welcome to the Single Mamas Podcast. I am your advocate and host, Brandy. Today, I have these two gentlemen with me. Me, scoot up.
Yeah.
Okay. Also known as the Gym City Mama. Tune in. We are live today. So I have with me Mr. Karan Ward. We brought him back for part 2. To my left, I have Mr. Kilo Lawson, who is a trainer. Karan is a single dad. And y'all know the boo in the back doing the engineering. Mr. Peanut Johnson. Everybody knows Peanut. Shout out to Network and Chill. Also, Sell Stocks Not Dope. Sundays at 8. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with y'all. You saw part 1.
Mm-hmm.
You were in part 1. Peanut, did you watch part 1?
I haven't yet, so can you give us a little recap for me and the viewers?
Ooh, so part 1 was something. It wasn't a bad thing. It was an experience. It kind of got out of hand. I feel like we didn't get the question resolved.
Okay.
And the question here still stands: how to get the black man back in the home. But my question for you two, or you 3 gentlemen, were you guys raised by single moms?
I was.
You was.
I was.
Okay.
I was.
And I was raised by my grandparents.
Okay.
And my mother was married, and then she remarried, so I'll take and say no.
Well, I guess I can say no, because I was back and forth with my grandparents too. A great chunk of my life was spent with my grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you care to share, where was your mom, Kilo?
During that time?
Yes, that you were with your grandparents.
Hustling like a Hebrew.
Okay.
She was a single parent, so she was just doing what she had to do. She was, working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. Just trying to maintain, trying to stay on top.
And yours?
She was out trying to figure out life like most women at that time. I think she was 19 when she had me.
Mm-hmm.
So she was out here just trying to figure it out and not really knowing what direction that she wanted to go in. So my grandparents told her they would be in the best position for me to go live with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did.
But then later on, I ended up living with her and my dad.
Okay.
At two different. They wasn't in the same house together. My mom, she had a husband, which was my stepfather, and my father had his woman. So I went from grandparents to spending some time with my mother and my father.
So you had somewhat of a village.
Yeah.
And you.
It was pretty much the same way.
Same way.
My father had his own home too, and I was back and forth between all three of them pretty much. But my father wasn't like a great. I wouldn't even call him a nowhere near a positive influence in my life.
Your father was not.
Absolutely not. He was in the streets. He strictly was the streets, you know, and that was so. It was just somewhere to lay my head, the comfort place. You know how children try to, you know how children will play the double standard with the parents. You know, I definitely played that with my dad. So problems at school, I called my dad because I knew I wouldn't get in trouble. You know what I mean? So he was that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Peanut, primarily 2-parent home.
Yeah. Like my mom is like my mom is still married today. Like I said before on the podcast before, like I've seen my parents separate by sleeping in different bedrooms, but they still stay together. You know what I'm saying? And like that type of is a different way of thinking when it thinks about, you know what I'm saying, single mothers and things of that nature, and like the whole family structure. I look at it more like they sacrifice for the better of the family. I mean, and I seen them work it out to the point where they're back in the same bedroom again. So it's like a lot of times, and I'm not trying to talk too further in the conversation, like a lot of times people just say, I'm done with this because this person made a mistake, knowing that person probably gonna make a mistake later on. And you get a chance, if you stay around long enough, you get a chance to both learn from these mistakes and be better humans afterwards.
Absolutely. No disagreement there. So, Karan, you didn't get to share your true thoughts and feelings on how to get the black man back at home. So go ahead and answer the question.
It's still gonna have to come down to the women and how you feel about yourself, because that's gonna determine what decisions you make. Because that's a lot for a woman to make. To make the decision that I'm gonna have this child. That's a lot, man. Because I'm raising just one child, and I'll be sitting there thinking like, I don't know how women is doing it with 2 and 3 more kids. These are a lot of different personalities that you got to take into consideration. So in order for the man to try to get back home, it's going to be hard, especially for women who already got kids, because it's hard for women who don't have kids to get a man in. So it's going to be even harder to get a man to come back in when you already have multiple kids. So you're going to have to try to fix something within you to make, because you got to look back at your past relationships and figure out what was it that I was doing, or why are these certain type of guys approaching me. Because if you only attracted to drug dealers, then you a drug dealer. The woman, she a drug dealer. If all she keep attracting is drug dealers, she's a drug dealer. She knows the ins and outs of the drug game. And to try to break away from that, that'll be hard. Because some women have a pattern of the type of guys that they attract. But they want different outcomes, but they don't know how go about how getting that type of man who want the same outcome that she wants. Like do you want to be married?
Absolutely.
Right. So you would have to figure out, is your life set up for marriage? Is your life set up for a relationship? Because a lot of women who got kids, they're on a schedule.
Yes.
So do you even have time to fit a man into that?
No. Right now, I do not have time to court.
And that'll be a problem.
To be quite honest, I do not have time to court. I have time for my children, and I dedicate the majority of my time
as you should
to my children. So no, I don't have the time now. Could I make time? Yes, I could. Is that on my plate right now? It's really not. That's not my priority now.
So in between those times until you meet the next guy, you have to work on yourself. You're gonna have to, like, y'all already know we visual.
The
right?
one thing, yes, I'm cute.
So if you ain't
I
got
don't have no problems in that area.
If you don't have time for a man, this is time to get yourself in shape.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I work on myself,
right. So
I can't speak for others. I can't say that Brandy actually works on herself. Brandy is mindful. Brandy is conscious. Brandy is in her spiritual realm right now. Like Brandy is at the height of her game right now for what Brandy can do. I can honestly say that. However, the disagreement I have with you is the fact that you blame us in every single instance, and it's kind of like even if I'm at the height of my game. Let's say I did have time to court. Let's say I did have a live-in nanny, which is what I'm shooting for right now. However, and I did have time to court. That doesn't have anything to do with a man wanting to be there, because I can't make you be there. I can't make you do anything. I can have a double masters. I can make six figures. I could be the nanny. I could be the cook. I could be the counselor. I can be all of those things, but that's not gonna make you be home. I can be the visual. So I can hit the gym. I got a little kangaroo pouch. You know what I'm saying? But I can hit the gym. So outside of that, that's still not gonna make you come home.
So let me ask you a question. If you was to start dating and date towards marriage.
Okay. Dating with purpose.
What would the criteria that you would be looking for in a man to choose as a husband?
For me, it would be, first of all, you have to have the confidence as a man. You have to have had some sort of healing, because we're all coming with trauma that we have yet to unpack. So you have to be working, like you said, my time out was to work on myself. He has had to have time out to work on himself. Not only that, he has to be willing. Like if we're having a conversation, because a lot of people, I feel like they just date anymore. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not having that conversation on that first date to say what you want and what you don't want.
Right.
And really, we're not even dating. We just, I don't even know what we doing no more. It's kind of like it's pretty different for me. Right. Anything goes. It's like our culture has accepted so much, but you have to be a family guy, because that's important for me. I have 3 girls. 1 adult, and then I have 2 boys. So you have to be family oriented. You have to be genuine. You have to be loyal. You have to be mindful. You have to be considerate. You have to have patience, because you are walking into a home with 6 personalities, plus my grandbaby. So we got 7. So you have to be a leader. There's a lot of things you would have to have. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, but you have to at least acknowledge those things. You have to be God-fearing. You have to be on the spiritual realm. Like, that's kind of a vague question. Like, I got like 10 things.
I tell you why
things.
After we get through, but I want to hear Kilo's thoughts
Yes.
on it.
I try to keep everything from my foundation of as a 5%er. And from what I've learned as a 5%er, that love is the highest elevation of understanding. So I am not a woman, so I will not speak on what a woman needs to do. What I prefer to speak on is a man and loving myself and using myself as an experience and as an understanding. I've had 2 failed marriages, and initially I was pointing the finger. You know what I mean? But as men, we have to bring in self-responsibility. Absolutely. Because we are the sole providers of our kingdom. We are God-like. We are the ones who represent power and strength. So we have to have that type of internal understanding of ourselves in order to attract a woman, if that makes sense. If you look at the churches, power is what attracts women.
And confidence.
Exactly. So that power you see in churches, even though, everybody has their own opinion about how churches move. I'm not even going to speak on that. But the idea of strength and power that a pastor resonates to his people, to his congregation, is what draws them in. And 80% to 90% of churches, Baptist churches specifically, are women. So they are being attracted to the message coming from this powerful man.
I agree with that.
Okay, so with that being said, self-responsibility, I think, is the first thing that we as men have to start taking on. it's easy to point the finger at the woman, and understandably, I understand where Quran is coming from because you are the first nurturers of the child. However, we have to be self-efficient. We can't, as men, we can't put ourselves into a position of blaming. We can't point the finger. We have to first start pointing the finger at ourselves, because if you are a man that's weak, you're going to be emasculated by a woman who speaks her mind. It causes emasculation. You know what I mean? And emasculation causes us to run away or not want to be around women. We don't want a woman talking to us in a way that makes us emasculate, right? But if we speak power within ourselves and we speak power within our families, then that strength is something that a woman will gravitate towards.
Don't disagree there.
So I think
how is she going to find that out here?
Well, the choice is, like you said from the beginning, and I agreed with this from the last podcast. It's about self-love. You know, women have to have self-love just like men have to have self-love. Self-love is not looking outside of yourself, trying to find something to create that fill that void within yourself. You can't do that. And that's where we make the mistake as people. As people, we have made that mistake. And you know, we look back in history, and I think somebody was trying to touch on this last time, but they didn't really know how to say it. During the Great Migration from the South after slavery to the North, men didn't want to leave the plantation because the slave owners were giving us the option to stay, and now we'll pay you for the work that you do. You know what I mean? So men wanted to stay. A lot of men wanted to stay at the plantation. Because they're looking at, I got a job, I'm getting paid to do the same work I was doing, you know, and women were like, no.
Because that's like a piece of like complacency.
Exactly. So women actually were the ones who moved towards out of the South towards the north initially. You know, they were the ones like, no, we're not staying. Yeah, we're not staying here. We're leaving. Men followed. You see what I'm saying? Men followed. But during that migration, once we got over to the north, you know, once upon a time, the kids, the boy children, the man children, you know, they were working alongside their parents on the farm. They were working alongside the fathers, learning how to be men. But then when we get to factories and the Industrial Revolution, men separated from the homes. Men started going away to go to work, away from their children, away. So the women started taking on that burden of having to take care of the children alone. Men were gone 10 to 12 hours, sometimes longer than that, at work. You know what I mean? Not being able to mold their child into what real manhood is. You see what I'm saying? So women had to take on that burden. And then you got the war came. Men moved out. Women were allowed to work. So now they're taking on the same responsibilities as men, right?
So you feel like Micah made that statement.
I want to finish let me finish my bill.
Go ahead.
So it changes the mentality.
Does.
It changes the mentality. So into the 60s, we started going into a mentality of civil rights, right?
A lot happened that day.
Women's rights, right? Well, civil rights was granted to us, and also was welfare and all these other things that came into play. They took away the responsibilities of a man. So women were already working, women were already providing, women were already in a place where men were initially alone, where they stood alone and what made them men. But now you got this welfare and everything else started coming into play. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it was a necessity, but it still damaged the mentality of the black home. You know what I mean? Because now it's, I don't need you. You know what I mean? And they even went so far as to say you can't have a man in your home.
Right. I mean, that's still
You know what I mean?
today.
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
emasculation started with society. You know what I mean? And women gravitated toward it, understandably so. And it kept on emasculating. It kept on emasculating to the point to where the separation of the family started in the 60s. You know what I mean? At one point in time, in the early 60s, 75% of the black family was together. Now it's total opposite. 75% are apart. You know what I mean? So it started from that. the mentality has to transform back to what it was.
Absolutely.
We as people have to take on the understanding of, okay, I need to learn to love myself. I need to learn to love my woman. I need to learn to love and men. I'm speaking specifically of men because that's all I am as a man. You know what I mean? So I need to learn these things. I need to learn just because she speaks this way, she's powerful. I shouldn't be emasculated by that power because I know it's coming from a place of love. So it's a perception. Women will say things to us. It's just that we've been trained not to allow a woman to speak a certain kind of way to us, but really if you get underneath what she's saying, she's really telling you, crying out to you, asking you for the help. She just don't know how to say it. But society, again, has created this misunderstanding of what independence really means. You know what I mean? And independent woman is not what society has created it to be. We as a culture we as black men and women are the only culture who takes this independent mentality and causes it as division.
Yes.
Agreed.
And and so we have to I think we just have to get back to the understanding of learning to getting out of the of trying to defend and getting back to comprehend one another.
It's gonna be hard, man.
It's not an easy task.
Now we sitting in a state of ignorance.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be hard to untrain that type of thinking mentality.
You say it's going to be hard, and I don't disagree there. However, the way you say it is like we just lost. Like you feel as though our generation, and I say our because we're all in our 40s sitting on this platform except him. You feel as though we just at a loss.
Yeah, but I want to stay optimistic, but it's going to be hard. Because
it's going to be hard.
When we came over here during slavery, we always been a commodity to other races.
True.
While we doing that, we still having broken homes. So that means we spending all our money to other races, and we got a broke home. We done if we don't figure out how to change the way our thinking and how we look towards each other. What did our great people that came before us, like Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and George Washington Carver? They had empathy towards people of their own race.
Yeah.
We don't have empathy towards no more.
No.
Black women degrade each other more than anybody, and black men degrade each other more than anybody. But the difference between black men is we killing each other. It ain't just a cat fight or an argument. Somebody gotta die.
And that's I think it's got a lot to do with circumstances, because I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think it's just a redefining, like I said, of what power really means, of what strength really means. We really have to be more cognizant of what creates power. If we look at different cultures, which we should start doing, we should start, people, if you're paying attention, start observing different cultures and how they move and not looking at it from a defeatist mentality. We have to start looking at it as a place of learning to reconnect. We are the only culture. We are the only people who has this divided mentality amongst each other, where I can't look at my woman and tell her, I need you to do this, without it turning into a problem, and she can't turn around and ask me the same question without it turning into a problem. Instead of saying, got you. Although, yes, communication is the key. And I think that's where it's going to come from wholeheartedly. I just think we have to learn how to speak to one another. And in so doing, we have to speak other people out of that mentality. We, like you said, like it's hard. It's going to be a hard task, but I think everything can be started with children.
So I want to add to the conversation. So I agree with everything that everyone said on this platform. I think it's one thing that we're not thinking about also, or considering, is we all say we need each other, but we treat each other like ones, right? And like the second factor is there can only be two people in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? I understand there can be external factors of family and things of that nature, but a lot of times we get into this. My relationship is with this person and all their friends on Facebook, or all their friends and all their family. I'm in a relationship with all of these people rather than this being me and this person. Because a lot of times it could be something so small as, just to be funny, like the toilet seat up, right? But then she go and
Post it.
which multiplies about all these different people that when it comes back to you, it's something way different by the time you get back to it. Like, whoa, this something you could have just talked about and like got over it.
And that's where boundaries come into play. We you know,
and social media
we have to
is
really
just-
start creating boundaries within our own homes. Me and my woman got a framed boundary picture in our room, and one of the boundaries is whatever happens in the home stays in the home. You know, we build from within. You know what I mean? And it's the same as like I tell people all the time, life is a workout. And the workout starts here and then here. It don't start out here. It don't start out here. You got to have the mentality and you got to have the will. You know what I mean? So we have to really transform the mentality of our people. And I really firmly believe that starts with children.
Right. But how,
You know what I mean?
how do we do
So
that when it's only the mother raising the child?
Well, it comes from a place of being humility. You know, it comes from a place of humility. We have a lot of single mothers out here. Those same fathers have to humble themselves and put themselves into a position of, I can't run her household. But what I can do is become a teammate. All it takes is a man to be humble. You'll be surprised let me finish. You'll be surprised how much a woman will pay attention and listen if a man humbles himself. But you have to come as a man.
But
That's how
you
you
know, most
lead.
of these women who got kids by these guys, man, these guys ain't about to humble themselves.
Well, see, that's what we talking about, though. We talking about these guys have to humble themselves. We have to get into a mentality, men. We have to be man the fuck up. Excuse my language, but that's all it boils down to. And part of manning up is humiliation, self-humiliation. That's the only way you're going to understand how to love yourself. You have to be you have to have you have to find some humility within your own self, within your own spirit. Like I said, I've had 2 failed marriages, and I've pointed the finger at everybody except myself for many, many years. You know, I've been home for 20 years, and I've literally pointed the finger at them for the problem. You know what I mean? And it is a shared experience.
Okay, so how did you just evolve and say?
Well, I saw a therapist myself.
Okay.
I finally went to a therapist, and I started really trying to get back to understanding who I am, my foundation. Like I said, I'm a 5%er. And and the first thing is knowledge, is to know, look, listen, and observe all things in existence. And the first thing you have to learn to know, look, and listen, and observe is yourself. Because I made the choice to be with these women. I made the choice, regardless of what telltale signs I saw or, you know, whatever, ignored within them and myself. Because, you know, you have to come to a place where you understand that I was not built for that. You know what I mean? 20 years ago, I was selling drugs. I was definitely not built to be a husband to my first wife. You know what I mean? Real talk. Because I was in the streets. I was just coming home, and I got to get it. I got to get it. So, and the only focus I had on was stacking money for my son. You know, it was like, I need to make sure I got money so he don't move in the same direction that I moved and try to break this cycle of what my father did to me. You know what I mean? How I was moving with my father. But in so doing, I destroyed the relationship with me and my son. You know what I'm saying? Because
How many children do you have?
I only have one.
Okay. And
But-
you only have one.
But like I said, in so doing, that mentality puts you in a hard type of place. And it's no humility. There was no humility within myself. You know what I mean?
Once you get to that place, you're gonna push everybody away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened. You know what I mean? That's what happened. So I had to really observe myself and really start getting a self-understanding. Like I said, love is the highest elevation of understanding. I had to learn to love me first.
Right. And that's like what I was saying, like it gives you standards.
Yeah.
We don't have black men don't have no standards for ourselves or each other.
Yeah. No accountability.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody's telling another man like, bro, tighten up.
You can't because they're gonna shoot you.
Well, this is why mentorship is so important, because when y'all say stuff like
Exactly.
that, like my stepdad said so much stuff to me that I can always take to the bank and cash. Like he said, you can't make sure nobody's straight unless you straight. He say stuff like that. So when you say it took you to go through your rites of passage to learn that, it's like, this is probably why I look at these different relationships like that. Like it's completely a foreign place to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, these are things that, for instance, I went to a place last month called Band of Brothers, man.
Let's
I'm
talk
hip
about
to that. I'm
It,
hip to that.
it's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever seen because while you're there, right, they kind of don't set it up to let you know what it's going to be about. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of boosted as like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're going to do a whole bunch of man stuff, right? Like we paintball and kayaking, all type of stuff like that. But really what happens is, man, like they break you down, man. Like they literally have you in a room, you know what I'm saying, worship on the first end of it. We eat good, but man, like they get a chance to break down all these different things in your life and certain questions that you have to be faced with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that should be something like that should be multiplied and instituted in like our children, man, because
What's the age group? The age range?
I ain't see no kids there, but I don't see why a kid couldn't be there.
Or like teenagers.
Yeah.
Because they suffer. Our teenagers are suffering.
Yeah, we got an 18-year-old there for sure.
Yeah.
Our dude. But yeah, it's like, and then it's like because we have this narrative of what a man should be compared to the actuality of man. We got it hard too. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times on the opposite end of it, you know what I'm saying, we can say childbirth is something I know I couldn't put up with or I couldn't do, or we look at their struggle and say, I understand that struggle. I think on the opposite end, we don't get enough credit for the shit that we got to go through. Respect.
I agree.
Because I feel like, and we so tough about it that we don't even talk about how hard it is. And then
So if you are harboring things, how are we supposed to know?
Well, that's the problem is that society has put us in that mentality.
Yes.
You know, it's a thing of the definition of manhood is so distorted by American society. It tells you if you cry, you're weak.
Yeah.
We have so many things where we really need to speak about and that are defined as weak as a man.
In your lifetime, how many times have you heard a man say you hurt my feelings?
But
Right.
No, I'm asking you right now. In your lifetime, how many times you heard a man say
told you that.
hurt my feelings?
I've heard it.
You have?
Yeah, but it's rare. It's rare because the
But I don't have
majority.
those type of you know what I'm saying? Like I have a relationship with my kid's fathers, you know, we were friends. So it's not like you can't say to me, you can't say, ain't nothing you can't say to me because I'm me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and if I can't be me, who
What
else?
society
you understand
tells
what I'm
us,
saying?
what society tells us as men to act. You know what I mean? To
But
act.
I'm speaking on, if we're talking about a relationship, society is outside. I'm talking about inside. So
Inside,
if you can't
but outside, but the
come
outside.
to us and say, this is what I need, this is what I'm lacking, oh, today was a bad day, or how am I supposed to know?
It sounds good at your age, but we speaking about men who are in their 20s, their 30s,
Yes.
who don't have that outlet because the perception has not been told to us that.
They didn't have nobody
We've
else
been
to tell
told, the streets and American society has told us, especially as black men, to toughen up, keep it to yourself and keep moving, keep pushing forward, keep moving forward. No tears, no complaints.
The very first
keep
time
moving.
I said those words,
know.
you hurt my feelings, was this year.
I'm
Ever to a female.
bro, I'm 49 years old, and I
Yes.
just started speaking like that. It's been, man, listen. My motto used to be struggles ordained, trouble and pain only charges me. I used to say that all the time. You know what I mean? So that mentality is inbred into you, especially if you're coming from the streets. You know what I mean? You better not be out there talking about how you feel. You know what I mean?
Because then you viewed as you soft.
You are viewed as you
you're
soft.
tried.
And so the weakness and strength mentality has been distorted because of how I was raised anyway. You know what I mean? I can't speak on everybody,
Right.
but when you talk to a woman and you telling a woman that in your 20s and 30s, like, I'm tired or I feel some kind of way, she gonna look at you the same way because her mentality is distorted about what a man is and what power and strength really is.
I
You
would
know what I'm
say
saying?
so.
Not
I'd say
under
so.
well, because that's the reason for division, because the communication is not there. Men have been taught not to communicate their feelings. You see what I'm saying? Women have been taught to communicate their feelings.
Absolutely.
Men have been taught not to respond to feelings that sound weak.
So my question
it starts to
stands,
divide.
if we are the communicators and we are doing everything and we are the visuals and we are the beauty, we are the brains, we are it all. We can still be all of that and you're still not home.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I just feel like I agree with you, and I feel like that's the reason is that I feel like it all boils back down to the mentality of a man and his redefining of what manhood is within his own self. You know what I mean?
Plus, like you want to know how you get the black man back in the home. That's gonna be hard.
He keeps saying that. That's all he keeps saying.
Because I mean, just like you said, I mean, I agree with him as far as the difficulty level because, like I said, women have a definition of what a man is as well.
Right.
Women have that definition. You can't pull up on a woman. It's you know how hard it is for a man to pull up on a woman and be like, "This, I'm stressed the fuck out. This over here is driving me crazy. I really need some help. Help me." You know, women go look at you and say you weak, because that's the definition of it. Goes totally against what the definition of manhood is to a woman. American society has broken the communication of our people.
I ain't saying that American society has not contributed,
Right.
but I am saying that that's outside and we inside.
But what is
when we
outside?
come inside, it should be a different.
It should
conversation.
be. Should be.
The conversation should be different.
But
Should
in some
be.
women's situation, the man ain't even in the house. You gotta understand something. Y'all, for women who got kids, y'all want a husband.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think most of these. Well, I wouldn't say most or not all, but a lot of these guys ain't even taking care of their own kids. So y'all want him to come in and take care of your kids?
Yeah. And
we stuck.
Yeah. And like you said, it should be that way, but ifs, could'ves, would'ves, and should'ves do not count in life.
No, they don't.
The only thing counts it is what it is.
I
And
totally agree.
outside is reflective of what's inside. Because a man does go outside and he works his ass off, and he, you know, even to the drug dealers, they out there, you know, the stress
risking
that's just
their
coming on, watching your back all the time, looking through rearview mirrors all the time. All those things cause a lot of stress on you, and then you got to come home and hide that stress, or at least you feel like you do.
At least you feel like
Yeah,
you.
but-
At least you feel like you.
But
do.
that's the whole mentality of
Because
what society has told us
every
as men.
woman, I'm not even. I can't even go with society because every woman ain't built like that.
I'm not saying that they are, but we cannot go against
Like
what
because
society
I
has
know
created.
if
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
like-
you have to understand this too. Your mentality is a minority in the black population,
Okay, I
in
know
the black community.
I can go with that.
And you got to take into consideration your age again. You know what I mean? You are at a place of understanding. You know what I mean?
I was at
Where
a
you
place of
look at
understanding even young though.
but you wasn't. You were still the minority
Now, I ain't-
when it comes
yeah,
to
I
that
guess so.
mentality.
I guess so.
You
I
know
guess
what I
so.
mean?
I
Because
guess
the
so.
majority is you hustling nigga, you better come on in here and represent. Period. That's the mentality of women now. You know what I
Now,
mean?
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, and it was
mean,
back
it
then
is,
too,
it
to a
is,
certain
it's-
extent,
it's
because
real bad now,
everybody
though.
is like, you know, it's not the fact that he's a drug dealer that makes him powerful. It's the fact that he has the money, and the power comes in.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a whole, you know, money, power, respect.
Respect.
That is so
Right.
backwards. You know what I'm saying? But that's the mentality of American society, and regardless if what we want it to be, that's what it is. You know, so it's really boils back down to redefining what manhood is and redefining what power really and strength really is in as far as a relationship is concerned. And I think that comes with communication and bringing children up in a family of you don't have to be in the same house, but
No,
you at
don't
least have to
in the same
be
house to be family.
they have to be being
And I think that's
mentorship.
another thing that we need to understand, that you
Yeah.
do not have to reside in the same home to be a family. And somebody posted this. I want to say it was Derek Morrow the other day, and was saying it was like a big deal. Like if you buy a mother, would you be mad if your boyfriend bought your daughter, or his baby mama, a Mother's Day gift? And I'm like, well, why not?
She a mother.
She a mother.
To your
Like
child.
to your child. She's sacrificing every day. Like, why is that a big thing? And I'm like, at the end of the day, we all family.
That woman who disagreed with that, she a red flag.
I want to read some of these comments real quick. We got Tanisha. Well, we got a bunch of people who are checked in. Shout out to Miss Davis. She said, yes, Brandy, he sure does blame us for everything. Talking about you. You got Kevin Easy checking in. He said, right, Kilo. Tanisha said laws of attraction. You got Kevin Easley saying
attraction.
women empowerment came along because of that also. So we agree with you. Tanisha said facts, Kilo. Well, you are getting all the love today. It was continuous. It was the continuous build of the system to separate black men from the family.
Exactly.
I think it was definitely designed.
They used the black women to help build the feminist movement, which was never about us.
Facts.
We've been conditioned to think that way about each other. We have to break out of the matrix.
Facts.
You got Nikisha saying, I'll speak on the welfare system. When my dad met my mom, she lived in the project. She also had 2 other kids that were not his. However, when she gave birth to me, he moved her out of there and her children. Once that happened due to the working, she took. See, my bad, I hit the
I
button.
better start using periods.
Working, she took to let go. So she let go of the food stamps and the public assistance. So like salute to that situation there, to where like he saw the writing on the wall and he changed their situation. We have to stop generalizing and speaking from a hopeless place. I agree.
Yeah.
Byron, men are conditioned from childhood to be numb to their emotions. I agree.
Facts.
You have Nakisha saying that Jill Scott, the sky is not a ceiling, speaks volumes between men and women and the children.
Facts.
I believe it's how you were raised and whom you choose to allow in your life. You should be able to speak freely and come up with a solution, and the solution is healing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Absolutely.
And and I think that's a thing of we have to, as black people.
Y'all call in to 937-991-0025 to go live. Go ahead.
As black people, we have to stop communicating to defend and start communicating to comprehend.
And comprehend.
You know,
totally agree.
Just like the last conversation y'all had here, the woman was very defensive, understandably so, because she was being attacked. But at the same time, yeah, I'm not saying that, but there still has to be a place of understanding where comprehension has to come in. My lessons teach me to ask the question why. Why is the most answered question by the 85%? And who better to answer but God? So ask the question why before you get into a place of defense. And I think if we start communicating from that place, it calms your nerves. But that comes with humility. We have to start asking. If somebody over here yelling at me, I've grown to the place where if somebody yelling and especially if they don't even know me, but even if they did know me, I'm still asking why. Where is this coming from?
And I also feel like y'all men don't realize we are just natural emotional creatures.
And
that's
yeah.
our
We definitely realize it.
That's our makeup.
That's been something that's been said to us all the time, but it comes back to the defense, because we know that women are naturally emotional. Y'all the first nurturers of the family.
Right. So therefore, if
but we have
your
been
delivery,
conditioned.
So wait. So if you know this, knowing this, going into this, why not deliver the way that we can comprehend to communicate?
Well,
and vice versa.
Well, that's communication. And that part of the communication is also understanding from the man's point of view. Men are innately logical thinkers. So when a man speaks, it may sound robotic and even harsh at times, but it all comes back to what I just said. We have to ask the question why when we speak to one another. Listen to one another, as opposed to being so prepared to pull up our shield and our knife. When a woman is coming emotional, a man, which is fucked up at this point in time, comes back emotional. You know what I mean? And that's not manly.
No.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm speaking on.
We still got to get to the root.
Yeah.
Because the root is still these men that's emotional like that. Whose house did they come from?
Yeah.
They didn't come from their daddy's house.
Yeah.
Daddy wasn't around. They came from mama's house.
Okay.
So mama got to get when women raise kids, especially boys. Sometimes she got to put an extra sting on her words because in the back of her mind she thinking, I still can't make him soft. So when it's time for her to scold him and discipline him, she put a little extra on it. And who is he hearing this from? A female.
Yeah.
So when he goes out into the world, he ain't got no conflict resolution skills. Everything is based off of the emotional reaction. And that's how these kids is getting killed.
Yeah. And that's a prerequisite, and that's also a prerequisite of the lack of men being in the home. You know what I mean?
And that's-
So
we
the
gotta-
responsibility
so
is
getting ready to be my response.
So we
like,
gotta rush the people
but
who
we
don't have
can't.
kids yet.
We can't make you be there, and all we doing is our best.
well, the responsibility is twofold. That's all it boils down to. We, like I said from initially, we can't point the finger at one another. We have to start pointing the finger at ourselves first. If we start pointing the finger at ourselves,
do that because they ain't gonna take responsibility.
that's on, and you know what? That's on them.
And then, but I
Because
wanna
there are
piggyback on-
mentorships out here. Hold on, Brady, I'm sorry. But there are mentorships out here to where real men are standing up and helping boys become men.
Right.
Marlon Shackelford is getting busy. Daryl Bird is getting busy. We got people out here who are really for male children learning how to become men and growing up. So the women out there who looking for somebody, check with Marlon Shackelford. You know what I mean? He definitely has somewhere where your male child can go and be around men who teach them. Anthony Parker, he has a all boys camp. Well, it's co-op now, but they do excellent work when it comes to trying to bring male mentorship into families, especially ones that are being raised by single women, because most single women know that their children need a man in their lives.
Yeah,
This
my
is not,
children- my
you're not
children
hearing,
have verbalized
yeah,
it.
you're not
So-
hearing a lot of women saying, I don't need no man. The only ones you hear talking like that are ignorant women who are hurt. You know what I'm saying?
So how
Real
how
women
do they
know.
get them back in. I'm saying it's gonna be difficult.
It-
So we gotta
we
reach
know
the women
that.
who ain't had kids yet. They gotta have the standard.
But-
So when it's time for them to give their
I
gift
don't.
away,
I don't.
they don't give it to anybody.
Listen, I don't disagree with that. However, it still has to be displayed.
It has to be displayed.
It
But it
has
ain't
to
gonna-
be.
it ain't
So
gonna be
it's so
displayed.
wait. So it still has to start with us.
Yeah. Us being men and women.
It's still no, and this generation.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
yeah,
saying
yeah,
reach
yeah,
the
yeah.
ones behind us, but if they don't see it,
They
that's
can't see
like
it.
that's
All
like
we
me
can do is
going to
tell them.
college. I'm only going to college
But-
because why am I telling my kids
But
to
let
go
me
to
tell
college if I ain't
let me tell you
if I
something
ain't
on
going to college?
let me tell you something on that. We are a fad society.
We are trendy.
We're trendy.
We're not
I'm not
trendsetters.
sure what it's
Yes.
called. So
Yes.
if
I agree.
if you have if we start creating more, like people who have knowledge of self, if you start creating this visual of what a strong family looks like, women are attracted to that.
Right.
Men are envious of that and become more curious of that as well. So it's not a group thing that's gonna happen. It has to become an individual decision. You know, men have to start really saying, let me learn me first. And women have to start saying, let me learn me first. We got to get out of this thing of, I gotta have a man or I gotta have a woman in order to complete myself and make myself whole. Because that's the biggest lie that we've been told. We have to be whole within ourselves before we even move into a relationship.
Right.
Because
but
if
what
we
other
looking
culture-
for a part,
what other culture says do that first? The other cultures
all
don't
cultures,
do that.
all cultures do. Let me explain.
In
All
terms
cultures
of-
do. In
because
terms of
they
their
don't say
culture.
work on you first. and
Because they're
then-
raised working on themselves. The culture is the lesson. You see what I'm saying? The culture is the education. They're raised from children to learn how to love themselves and learn what bring to the table, how to communicate to each other and bring what they bring to the table. You know what I mean? We are the only society. We are the only community, the black community, and purposely so. It was done for a reason. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother podcast.
Right.
But it was done in order to cause the division that we have today.
Right.
There is no reason
So
why
the
you're
only way
not
we can
hearing
fix
this
it is to reach
conversation
the people
nowhere
that's
else.
coming behind us.
Exactly.
The other people, the older people, they got to die off with their old ways of thinking. That's the only thing.
And it's
that's the
true.
only way
And it's
it's gonna
sad to say,
happen.
but it's true. You know what I mean?
So
Because
for
So
the women
basically,
who
what
ain't
you
had
just telling
kids.
me, we just lost. We
Yes.
lost cause.
No,
this-
we're not
listen,
a
this
lost
panel-
cause.
This
We're not a
this
lost
arm right
cause.
here, these two arms are just lost.
No,
No.
we're not a lost cause. We are just lost.
Right.
It's a big difference. And even the ones, this realization didn't come when we were in our 20s. This realization for me definitely didn't come when I was in my 30s. This came to me 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? After I've destroyed two women You know what I mean? It came after that. After I've destroyed my relationship with my own son.
So you didn't realize that we needed each other until 5 years ago?
Well, I knew that we needed each other, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant holistically. You know, my mentality was American when it came in. Yeah, it just came in as, you know, first marriage was I'm here for my family. I'm going to be a dad and make sure he ain't like me. And, you know, it was that mentality, not really thinking about the effects I was having on her, you know what I mean, or on him, because I was coming from a penitentiary mentality. You know, it was still hard and non-emotional. You know what I'm saying?
When that happened? When you got your first marriage?
Less than a year.
Well, you didn't even have time to
And
detox
how long
from
were
the
you married?
penitentiary.
No, absolutely. Shit. How long was I married or together?
time.
We weren't together a whole year after the marriage.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it really just wasn't realistic.
And then the second marriage.
Second marriage, I was with her for 16 years, and we were married for 2 years. You know, and
So things changed after you
well,
got
things
married.
changed when I got with her. It was a different mentality going on, but you know, that's a whole other story that I don't want to speak on.
No, we're not going to speak on it. But
Yeah.
I'm stating 16 years, then you decide that you're going to get married, and then it only lasts 2 years.
Yeah, the marriage only lasted 2 years.
So
It was a learned experience. I definitely found
changed?
somebody. I changed within my own self.
okay.
And like I said, I'm not gonna speak on
No, I
I'm
don't
not gonna speak on
really,
either
I just
one of
want to
them
know who
negatively.
changed. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? We
That's
both
about it.
changed.
Okay.
Don't let's be understood in both marriages.
Okay.
But I'm not pointing the finger at
But
neither
y'all
one of
changed
them.
together to move
Exactly.
forward.
You didn't
Exactly. And if a thing is not growing, it will soon decay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what happened. You know what I mean? I was in a position to where we weren't growing together. You know what I mean? So yeah, that changed.
So let me ask you something. You a single dad. Essentially, you blame the woman.
No, I don't blame them. If you care about somebody's well-being, you hold them accountable. That's the only thing. Because now y'all want men back in the house, but these things done happen under your supervision. You the only one that's in control of you. That's all I want women to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You the only one in control of you.
Mm-hmm.
It don't have nothing. That's the beauty about accountability. It don't have nothing to do with another human being. It all has to do with you. And once you get fixed that, then everything else will fall in place. But now women want men to be in the homes. Like if I ask you, what do you look for in a husband?
Mm-hmm.
The best thing you like I can give you an analogy. Like when you get home, get you a sheet of paper, fold it in half, and open it back up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
On one side,
What
write
you want,
husband.
pros and cons?
Listen, on one side you write husband, on the other side you write father of my children. Then you
Mhm.
list all the characteristics that you would want a husband to have. Then you
Mhm.
list all the characteristics that you would want the father of your child to have. Because it's gonna be a difference. And you focus more on the side where the father of my children. Because at the end of the day, this man is coming into your house to be some type of role model for your children.
Mhm.
So if you can figure that out and get that in order, y'all can win. But you got to figure out what kind of man do you want. What do this man have to? What are you looking for him to bring to the table for your kids and for yourself?
And it's all a redefining of self-love.
Yeah.
We got to really redefine what self-love is. We have to get out of the mentality of thinking that what makes us whole is another person. We have to get that out of our mentality, men and women.
Yeah.
We have to get out of the mentality as men of thinking my manhood or my manhood is connected to my dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to get that out of our mind because that is the mentality that a lot of us have.
Peanut.
Hmm?
So we've heard there too. Input. Answer the question. How do you get a black man back in the home?
I think
That was a long breath.
I'm over here going through
It's
my
a
damn
long
self. Honestly, man, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, man. I always say that because the Holy Spirit is something that a woman possesses inside a household, man. Like she can change the whole mood of the household, right? Of course, a man can too. If a man comes inside there, he's slamming doors, he belligerent, he's breaking stuff, he's cussing people out, he's being that. But if he's not being that, he's trying to be peaceful, and he really values peace. I think that is what it should be, man. I mean, but I mean, if you got a hellraiser at home, then it's gonna be exactly that. It's gonna be hell in the household, man. It needs to be peace within the household. And I think with time and patience and people just don't throw away relationships for temporary things. Like Francis, man, like I can understand cheating could be a big barrier for relationships, and some people that is a
Deal breaker.
you know what I'm saying, a deal breaker. But I've been around and watched my parents go through it on both ends of it, and they stuck it out. It was better for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I understand people just feel like, oh, you played me. Played you to who? All these people that you playing ringmaster to. Because who? The term being played is played out to me.
Nah, that's a fact.
Right. We got this pride and this ego so big of, oh, you did this to me. That person made a decision for themselves. If someone does something embarrassing to themselves by treating you wrong, what they did is no connection to me. If the person I'm with right now is out here going crazy right now, what that say about me? It says nothing about me. It says only to that person's character, not mine.
Yeah.
And I think
so. You don't think that affects you one way or another?
that person is a living human being with their own goals and expectations in life, and sometimes they want to make decisions for themselves.
And there is a such thing as pain, if that's what you mean.
Yeah,
of course they're gonna be affected by it, but it still comes back to self-love. You know what I mean?
No,
like
and
you
I
said,
mean in
like,
terms of like the representation aspect.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There will be
okay.
pain, there will be embarrassment for you as well, but it's still a place where he's speaking of is from a place of self-love. I love myself enough not to be affected by the decisions that you made to embarrass you, because you're the one looking silly.
You putting the clown suit on, not me.
Yeah, so that's self-love.
Let me ask you a question. As how you see the black community right now, do you see black men coming back into the house the way it is now?
But he still desires to be married.
Me too. But I'm saying the way the thing is set up right now, we at odds with each other.
We are. It's so bad. Let me tell you something. It's so bad that even this podcast, I go back and forth every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are at such a division. And some days I just feel like defeated. You click on that blue app and all you see is men talking about women, whether it's jokingly.
Yeah.
It still stings.
Yeah.
The lashes, the asses, you know what I'm saying? It still stings.
Yeah.
And then you got women. Oh, my BD ain't this and my BD ain't that. And some days I feel like mine ain't either. But I ain't going on this app to share that. I'm gonna call him and share that with him.
And that's a problem, because I think a lot of people look at social media as reality.
It's validation.
Yeah, it's reality.
Yes.
Social media is like prison. You can be whomever you want to be online.
This is true.
You know, and that's where shit done got messed up. Excuse me.
But I'm
that's
just saying,
where it
it
done
was
got
like
messed up at.
every day I just be like, do I even really want to keep doing this? Because
Yeah.
I was in hiding, I guess one would say, for so long.
But he said
it
something.
felt like it felt
said,
better to some degree, and it's like now I'm live and I'm living my life out loud, which feels free and feels good. Also,
mm-hmm.
you know, it's like I'm torn,
but
because
you know,
it does feel good. You know what I'm saying? To just be me at the same time.
Validation from other people always feels good.
But no, I'm not looking for validation. It was for me again when I started this. Yeah, when I started this. I didn't start this for nobody else. I started this because it was like therapy for me.
Got you.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
suppressing and I was feeling and I was depressed. And
absolutely.
I didn't have an outlet. So I'm just like, somebody else feeling the same way. Well, let's talk about who's feeling the same way.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, because I don't care what nobody think about me. I do me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm confident in that statement.
Right.
I ain't going to work because you go to work. I ain't going there because you I'm going because I did my research and that's what I want to personally do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live my life like that. I don't wear all the stuff because that ain't me. You know, y'all see me on here with my headband, my hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a regular person.
I get you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's not that. But when you click on here and you do want to help others, because at the same time, you use your platform to help others.
Yeah.
So when you click on here and you want to help others, I do feel defeated some days because the men are just like, we can't win with y'all.
The shit.
We can't. There's
you gotta
no
understand,
end.
but that's the
There's
thing
no
about.
end.
But that's the thing about social media. It's not real. at the end of the day, it's really not real. I don't
It's
care
not
what
real,
a man
but
is getting on there saying.
It's primary. It's not real, but it's primary. It's like
And that's a sad
you
thing.
can't do anything without your for your business without it anymore.
Yeah.
We just talked about AI,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
But what you can do is unfollow. Like, if you look at my
I mean, this is true.
timeline, let me show you something. You look at my timeline, you're not going to see no negative speaking. I have
Right.
nobody
Right.
speaking negative on my timeline. I'm
Mhm.
friends with people who speak negative, but when they get on there and get consistent with it, I don't unfriend them. I unfollow them. So it's the same thing in life as it is on this thing right here. You can decide whom you want on your page. You can decide
Oh,
what
yeah.
you
You
want to
can
hear
decide
on
what
your
you put in
page.
your head,
Yeah,
your
ain't
brain.
nobody
That's
gonna
what
hear
you're
but
saying. I get
motivators
it.
on my page.
I get
Everybody
it.
is speaking positivity and love and life into my life.
Right.
Because that's what I look for.
No,
So
but
I
what
don't
I'm
look for the
speaking of is
jokes
like-
and the ha-has and a lot of the, you
I
know,
mean, the
and
jokes
the
and the
negative
ha-has,
slander
I can't
towards
even
each other.
lie. Sometimes
I take it
it
off.
be
I just
funny.
unfollow them.
But what I'm saying is, as a whole, like when you set yourself up for a platform like this, like I said, the thing is like Sherry Nevin said, your life is not your own. So you want to create something that others can live through you.
Yeah, I agree.
Does that make sense? Because
Absolutely.
the one thing I have had, I've had just as much as negativity I've had a lot of positivity just come in my inbox. Like, you doing a good thing, like keep going, this and that. So yeah, that motivates me to keep going. But I ain't gonna lie, like some days it just be like, man,
Yeah,
y'all
but
lost. Let me take these kids and keep traveling and doing what
as
I
you
do.
should, and
You know
that's
what
what
I'm
you
saying?
should
Like
be
it just
doing.
be like, Lord.
And that's what you should be doing. Like, I don't even watch the news no more.
Oh, I
because
don't
I don't
either.
deal with negative. I just don't
I don't
deal with
either.
that.
I don't
So-
either. I don't watch it at
So
all.
with that being said, we have the power to speak
Control.
life into ourselves.
Okay.
We have the power. Like he said, you
What?
asked Peanut. I'm sorry, Karan.
Go ahead.
You said you asked Peanut what he felt, and he said Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
It all goes back down to spirituality. It's self-love.
I don't disagree. with that.
I can't say that word. I can't say that enough because you know I put posts up all the time about men tightening up about stuff that they do. You know what I mean? That I find is not masculine to me. You know what I mean? And if somebody don't agree with it, that's on them. I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, certain things just aren't masculine, and that's
No,
how I
certain
try to
things
push my thing out there.
And I think
You
I
know.
think that that's another thing. Like certain things aren't masculine.
Yeah.
And I think that we have a radar.
Yeah, a gaydar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
so
that.
a lot
like
of
God gave
and the
y'all
guys
whatever,
may not
and God
be-
gave us intuition.
Yeah, and the
Like,
guys may
seriously.
not be gay per se.
No.
It's just that they have the mentality
right.
of an emotional creature.
Right.
You know what I
So
mean?
when you
And it's
see
bringing
that,
out emasculate
right.
characteristics.
But I'm saying as a woman, when you see that and you don't see men being masculine, like you made the statement, like they're not taking care of their kids, yet they want you to take care of your children.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
It didn't care.
it didn't matter whose
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
The man came in,
It was
took
community.
care of the kids, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
But
It didn't
it's a
matter
whole
whose
different ball
kids.
game now.
Yeah.
Like say
Mine,
say
yours,
when you start getting
hers.
out here today.
The neighbors, they took care of kids. That's what men did. So when men stopped doing that and stopped having that mind frame, this is where the independent woman came in. This is where the working harder, because it was one thing to work, but now we 6 figures 10 times over. Now we are the bag. You know what I'm saying? But this is where it came. We have to do this. We have to survive. My kids, we still going to Myrtle Beach?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if
Gotta make a way.
if dad don't pay, I still
gotta make
got
a way.
Yeah, we going to Myrtle Beach, or we
Yeah.
going to some dang on beach. I ain't figured it out
No, I
yet.
get
But you know what I'm saying? So we don't have a choice. We
Well, the
don't
choices
have
start
that
initially,
choice.
like Karan was saying, the choices start from the beginning
I agree with
and
that,
not in
but-
the middle.
But
you know what I mean?
we
So
in the middle though. Life
Yeah.
is in the middle.
We're in the
Life
middle
has
now.
changed.
Well,
Right. So what I'm saying is
only
like
thing we can do is
can't
keep
go
moving.
back to.
But what we can do is become wiser about the decisions that we make.
No, I agree
and
with
we,
that.
we have that option throughout our whole lives. You can wake up tomorrow and change how you feel.
We got a call.
Change how you move.
Okay.
Got a call.
Okay. I can go with that. I mean, I do though. I'm working on me.
Oh yeah, I got you right now. Gym City Mama podcast. Man, it sound like Eve.
Yeah, what's up, man? How y'all doing?
Kevo.
Okay, I'm enjoying everybody's input, Brandy's, everybody. I just want to call in, piggyback on, like Kilo said, us men been basically like desensitized, or whatever the word, on our feelings, you know. Me and my wife, we've been together 28 years
28.
now.
That's love.
And at the
Ooh.
beginning, I didn't show no
Congratulations.
feelings for like 14, 15 of those years. Because I, like Kilo, was in the streets and I held it in, as he say, us men usually does. You know,
Yeah.
so I just want to piggyback. He's really correct on that. It's so hard for us men to show our feelings to our women. And once I began to do that, me and my wife's relationship turned around. You get what I mean?
Probably
After
became a
showing my
beautiful thing.
feelings as a man, and we began working on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I have people who were saying, oh, y'all relationship ain't going to work. Y'all into it. We was young, drinking, and stuff like that then. Those same people were married 4 years. Me and my wife been married 23 now.
Come on now.
You know what I mean?
Come on now.
It takes, you're going to have to change yourself, you know, just change the different things about you. Show your feelings and communicate more, you know, with your lady, and things will work out. You know what I mean? And one more thing, like Kilo said, it's backwards. They want money, power, respect. It's respect me first. Let's get money together, and we'll gain the power.
Come on, bro.
That's right.
God family business.
Thank
Come on,
you.
bro.
Thank
Come on,
you.
bro.
Thank you so much.
Happy belated birthday, Shirley.
You know what's a problem? Like,
Yeah. We'll read some comments too.
It's
So
cool.
we just took a little break.
when you already in the relationship.
Said, keep doing your podcast. Continue
doing it.
inviting others who are honest and speaking healing into this world. Don't be discouraged. But the fact is, you have to realize, our people speaking negative, or are they venting about the reality of their life and seeking of healing?
And that's a truth
That
right
could be
there.
true.
We can
Yeah,
build on
that
that
could-
because,
yeah, that's
like I
definitely
said,
true.
like we all
'Cause
are.
it is circumstances.
Listen, it's been so taboo to seek therapy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Seek a therapist. Find somebody who really is a good therapist.
Yes.
I really didn't start getting an understanding of who I was until I was able to get a therapist who asked me questions that made me
you.
think about, that challenged
Challenge
me,
you.
that made me start questioning myself. That's how you grow.
But the
You
thing
know what I
about
mean?
it is, like, when you do have conversation with certain men, and you do have an open line of communication, they do feel as though a lot of men, and maybe it's the stigma, and I'm glad you guys are giving me insight on the way men have been groomed and the thoughts, but they do feel like you challenging them, and all you doing is just really trying to get a better understanding.
Well, that's male ego, and like I said, that's comes from a place of not being humble. We have to humble ourselves as men. You know, I had to humble myself. Like I told you, I was with a woman for 16 years, and I thought things were going as they should. So I had to really humble myself to learn what the fuck is the problem. You know what I mean? Is it me? Who is it? And it all
It's
boiled back
always
down
you.
to me.
'Cause
You know, yeah, you have to be humble enough to point the finger at yourself first. And that's adult. That's masculine. That is manly. Anytime you hear a man, you hear a guy saying it's your fault, or I don't see the kids because of you, and none of this, and that's not masculine. You see what I'm saying? Because we have to find masculinity. Men don't point the finger at other people. Let's be clear. That is not responsible. That is not being a man. A man points the finger at himself first, and then he figures it out. That's what a hustler does. That's what a real man does. He acts upon the problems that he has within himself. He evaluates. He deals from a place of logic. Logical thinking will always bring you back to you first. Emotional thinking will bring you to pointing the finger at everybody else around you. That's emotional. That's emasculate.
But you feel like you feel as though if you're already in a relationship, it's easier to work the kinks out because you already got the foundation.
Now, if you're trying to get somebody to come in, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
So, like, for the women who already got kids, like, for women who's raising boys by themselves, can y'all go let the boy live with his father? That means when you meet the guy that you want to date and have a future with,
Wait a minute. Why does she gotta let her whole son go live with somebody else?
It's his son too. Who better to raise his seed?
Okay,
than
but
him?
hold on. But why does she have to take her whole son away for her to have
It's
a
not her
relationship?
son. It's their
or
son.
their son. Okay, but Okay, so what if the other party is not even willing? But you still ain't answer my question. Why does a woman have to remove her whole child in order for her to have a healthy relationship with someone else?
Because you bringing something lighter to the table when you trying to get the man.
We a package, just so y'all know. Y'all come this
Brandy,
way. We a
listen.
package.
Who is better to raise his seed than the man who created it? Why can't he go live with his father 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so he can see what a real man is actually doing?
I'm not saying that he can or he can't, but what if there's an instance that he can't, and that's not even an option? And secondly, you
that's
still
not an option. Yeah, that's not an option.
but you still haven't answered the question. Why do you feel as though someone has to give away their whole child?
Let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
Maybe it'll help you better understand. Look at it in terms of your sons.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want your sons to move out of your house and make something of themselves? Then get attached with a woman who got multiple kids with multiple dudes. Would you want that for your son? That's a yes or no.
I want for my son what my son want for him.
No, I understand. I think you're missing what he's saying. And I understand what you're saying. And let me see if I can put it in a way that makes sense. If you have a man that's the father of your child, that's a good man, a strong man, and is willing to love his child, willing to love his son, and wants to nurture and make it and teach his son how to become a man.
I'm not even against that.
Okay, now let me explain this to you.
Yeah, I ain't against that.
This is what happens from a man's point of view.
Okay.
When you are a child and you see your mother with multiple men, it creates a division between you and the mother. It creates a subconscious feeling of self-hate towards women.
You saying as a man?
As a male child.
Okay, as a male child.
As a male child. It puts you in a place of defense. My mother couldn't have no boyfriends around us. You know what I mean? Any guys that came around, and you can ask her, any guys that came around, I would break into their cars. I would be as savage as I could be.
Why?
Because he wasn't my father. And as far as I was concerned, I was the man of the house. I'm the oldest child. You can't tell me what to do because you're not my father. See, so it becomes, you remember Color Purple? This your new mama. She ain't my mama. And hit her in the head with a rock. That's a real mentality of men. Subconsciously, men, it takes if another man is not coming into the life of a child when the child is very young, that is a very hard place for a man to be with that child. That division, it creates more division.
Ladies,
subconsciously.
are you listening?
Yeah, I'm just being honest, from a male point of view. You can disagree or whatever.
No,
but
I'm not disagreeing. I'm
just
trying to get
speaking
an
from my
understanding.
experience.
I'm really trying to get an understanding.
Yeah, I'm just speaking from my experience. And let's be clear on that too. But, when my son was a teenager, my son was growing up, and me and his mother had stopped being together, I wanted my child in the house with me.
Okay.
I wanted him there because I knew how to teach him how to be a man more than she did as a woman. Not saying she did a hell of a job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting anything that she did as a mother. What I'm saying is that he also has that emotional thing in him now that he would not have had if he had been with me.
Right. But you just said that's a double sword because
Yep.
you just stated that one of the downfalls is men are not allowed to be emotional. They're not allowed to be.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that you don't want your child to be an emotional monster. Men who become emotional monsters become emotional in the streets. That's why you got so many of them out here getting punched in the face and pulling out a pistol instead of putting their hands up and fighting.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's an emotional monster. And 9 times out of 10, they came from single mother homes. You see what I'm saying? Not discounting what's going on. I'm just speaking facts.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Men will. So as a man will teach his son logic to deal with that emotion. It makes no sense to get punched in your face and pull a gun out and ruin your whole fucking life. It makes more sense to defend yourself with your hands. You see what I'm saying? Or it makes more sense to walk away or to avoid, put yourself in a position where
So
you're not
saying,
even in those things.
Right. So you're saying that a man will receive that better
from another man.
Yes.
So because this is a reflection of a man. This is a reflection of you. You are not a reflection of me.
I am not.
You see what I'm saying? A male, he is a reflection of me. He is a reflection of me. And it's the same thing with male children growing up. And again, like I said, the father has to be willing and self-loving enough to be able to take on that. You see what I'm saying? To take on that responsibility. And it's nothing wrong with passing that responsibility on to a man.
I'll give a real life story to go along with that.
Disagree.
I'll give a real life story to go along with
just
that.
to be clear, I don't disagree. But I think it's like,
and you don't have
how
to
many? No. I'm just saying, but how many men are really willing to do that?
I get real life.
It's not many, because it comes with a lot of sacrificing that comes with that,
Yeah,
and most men are not willing to sacrifice for that. The crazy thing is,
I wouldn't want to say most. I mean,
and you'll be surprised you'll be so surprised that there are so many more men who would willing to do it than you would believe.
Yes.
There are so many. And I'm not saying that those men are all the way capable spiritually and mentally to do it, but they have the will to do so.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I wasn't capable and spiritually where I'm at now, but I still wanted my son to be with me. Okay. I still wanted to teach him how to be a man. I still wanted to put myself in a position to where we would teach each other.
There we go.
You know what I mean? That's how it goes. As a mother, you're learning together. And it's the same thing with a male child. You'd be surprised how men will man the fuck up when they have that responsibility.
Yes.
You'd be so surprised.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not saying push your child onto nobody, but if a man is sitting there saying, you got to listen to him. If a man is saying he need to be with me to learn how to be a man, and if that man is willing, I mean, I'm not saying it don't come with some like, listen, well, you can't be out here hustling, selling dope in the streets and putting my child in a position that's going to make him like you.
Right.
You have to be a better person too. You know, that's where the lines of communication have to come in. You have to start speaking to one another, because I understood when my son's mom didn't let me have him. You know what I mean? I didn't understand the reasoning then, but I understand now because I was still hustling. I was still doing stuff that could cause him to be a neck. Exactly. I understand that.
Couple comments. Felicia said it's imperative for a boy child to live with his father during his developmental years, because we are not equipped to make a boy a man.
McGee.
You got Nikisha saying Quran on the movie Boys in the Hood, the movie 300. Felicia said it's not about what the child feels is best for him.
Yeah.
He's a child. We have to learn to separate our emotional attachment from what is actually morally, logically, and developmentally.
That's my woman right there.
The best interest of our boy children, coming from a mother of a boy mom.
Yeah.
Nikisha also said rather single parent or two parent home, the children need to be shown self-discipline, taught self-control, or face the consequences. And the part I want to add in was the real life scenario of my son, right? So I take my son to school every single morning, right? He got into like a little scuffle at school, and the teacher called me, right? And when I'm talking to the lady, she says, well, he said that his mom said that he has a right to defend himself, right? And that's her term to have it. That's one blanket term, right? Mm-hmm. A father gonna be able to break it down. Which scenario do you fight?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got the right to defend yourself, but sometimes it's overkill. Sometimes there's not a place for this. Maybe it's a brush it off. Maybe go talk to the teacher first. But that blanket term is something she just try to give him as I don't know what to tell you, but you got the right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Right? The father can break it down and get in them creases where it's different.
Yeah.
Right? Is this your friend that you fighting?
Yeah.
Is it somebody who you don't know?
Mm-hmm.
That blanket
where
term.
Where he hit you at?
Yeah. Where he hit you at.
All that stuff comes into play.
All that different type of stuff.
Yeah, because and just coming from when my son was in elementary school, when I came home from the joint, I would go down there and see what was going on with him. You know what I mean? And the teachers were really more happy that I came versus his mom,
for sure,
because she came in the defense mode,
yes,
and I came in a comprehension mode.
Yes,
I want to find out exactly what the problem is.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's my baby. That's my baby.
He ain't always right.
Yeah, but she's a nurturer. I'm not just saying she was at fault, but she's a nurturer. Right. You know what I mean? So it's a logic thing versus an emotional thing.
Though you being a single dad, this is for Karan because he's a single dad, that was the best decision that was made.
What, for me to have my son?
Yes.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Okay, so if you would have had a daughter,
It
would you
would've
feel
been
the
better-
same
no,
way?
No, it would have been better for her to go with her mother. If I like guys who complain about, man, my baby mama won't let me see my child, or they keep raising my child support. Man, shut up. If your full name ain't on no documentation down at the juvenile court system with you as the plaintiff, talking about you trying to get full
As the
custody of your
plaintiff.
son, then I don't want to hear nothing.
Won't hear none of that.
Because if you ain't willing to go in court and fight for your kid, then who is?
I
There you
agree with
go.
that one, because that'd be my
There you
thing.
go.
That's an actual fact right
I
there.
went down
I
there to
agree
get
with
mine.
that.
I went down there to get mine.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Like, who's
Especially
going
if
back
it's a
and forth
boy.
with
Yeah.
that? Just go down
That
there.
way, when you
So
come
you
in-
don't, okay, but you keep saying, especially if it's a boy, so you don't feel as though little girls need their fathers just as
No,
much
yeah,
as
yeah,
boys?
but not on the
I'm talking about
24/7.
my daughter specifically. Like, I went down there to get my visitation to get my rights because it was 117 days without seeing my daughter after she seen me from her very first breath of life.
Mm-hmm.
And you went down there.
Hell yeah.
I mean, because the thing about it is, we have to, you know, if it's a separate home, yeah, we have to be really cognizant of what we have here. We have reflections. You know, my son, don't get me wrong, his mom's kept him in my life, even when we was apart. I'm not saying that. He lived with me and all of that. She's a very good mother. I'm not knocking nothing that she did. But when my son turned 17 and he was on his way to graduating, and I told him, like, when football season is over with, you need to get you a job so you can start stacking you some money, so when you go to college, you have some type of money. This is what she told me. He went over to her house one day for the weekend or whatever, and she said he just go stay here because he didn't want to be a burden on you. So,
Because he felt like the money.
well, see, what it turns into is a double standard. You know, children will use both parents against each other if they seeing that they not, if
That's
they are
why
at
y'all gotta
odds.
come back to the
You
round
see what I'm
table.
saying? And I told her then, I said, if you agree to that, then trust me, you're going to have more problems with him than anything else. And I got phone call after phone call about him trying to do stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. Trying to sell dope, arguing with her, just a bunch of stuff that he was doing that was not masculine. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all do have to come.
And so it becomes an emotional distortion. You see what I'm saying? When men raise their children, they raising them out of love and logic. When women raise their boys, they are raising them out of love and nurturing. They will cater to the problems. They will cater and protect and defend them when they do dumb shit.
Like say if I got my son and you got our daughter. See, now my daughter know what it feel like and what a man's supposed to do when he come pick her up. Because daddy ain't about to hit the horn. Daddy about to get out with his Kool-Aid smile, go knock on the door, and walk his baby to the car, get her in the seatbelt. I'm like, look, baby, I had plans for us this weekend, but it's whatever you want to do. So then when you come get your son on the weekends, you can tell him, like, look, baby, just in case you don't get no woman when you get older, I'm going to teach you how to be self-sufficient. This is how you cook, clean, wash clothes, iron, and all that. Then y'all spend the rest of y'all weekend doing mommy son stuff. It's still a way we can get it.
Yeah, we don't have to necessarily
I'm not
be in the
disagreeing
home.
with-
We just have to learn to love ourselves. If we learn to love, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm almost 100% positive that if I had this understanding when I was younger with my son and me and his mom versus us arguing all the time, and I was able to be humble and humble myself and understand where she was coming from, and she was able to humble herself and understand where I was coming from, we'd have had a much better relationship. We'd have had a much better relationship with our son and all of that. But again, ifs, couldas, wouldas, and shouldas don't count. So I always speak from my experiences so people can understand that being emotional and being irrational and being manifesting emasculate ways will only get you where I am at now. Without you see what I'm saying? Without a relationship with my son, me and his mom don't even talk. You know what I'm saying? So this
He's
is
an adult, right?
yeah, he's an adult still, but
how old is he?
he's 30 years old.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm just giving you an understanding of what happens when you become an emotional monster. You see what I'm saying? And men become emotional monsters by not self-checking their emotions. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't checking my emotions. I felt more confident in, no, nigga, This is manhood. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So not understanding that I am a two-sided person too. We as men are emotional and we logical just like women are emotional and logical. We just move from a logical place and women move from an emotional place. And that's okay. But when we come to an understanding of what that really means, we're able to communicate, we're able to build, and we're able to grow. Me and the woman I'm with now, we communicate. We communicate our feelings. We may not talk. We may get angry and
important.
sit back and, not talk to each other for 24 hours, but we still give each other space because it's our boundaries. So we give each other space and then we come back and we communicate. You see what I'm saying? And that's a relationship.
So communication is the key.
Self-love is the key.
Say it again.
You can't get tricked neither and have the wrong guy in there fooling you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because it can happen.
I mean,
but it can only happen for so long.
So long.
It can only happen for so long. And trust me, Elaine will reveal himself.
I was going to say the truth will start.
It's a big deal because y'all live together.
Yeah.
So y'all gotta have some type of understanding.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure that's your friend.
Yeah.
Because you can't even be.
He's my best friend. I don't kick it with nobody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody else no more.
Right. There's no
I don't run with niggas. I don't run with nobody no more. When I go somewhere, I go with her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is the person that I know is really thinking about me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't got to worry about all the extras. So
thank y'all.
When you run with somebody, it's on a treadmill. You know what
that's it. And that's all, baby.
Right.
And that's all. Accepting clients now.
Clearly thought I was a client this morning.
Right.
I just can't believe that. But at any rate,
My fault.
Thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank Karan for coming back, starting over. And y'all know my boy over there.
Yeah.
Shout out on Monday.
Absolutely.
Network and Chill, you know the vibes. We actually in Cincinnati this Monday.
I know.
First time I'm stepping out of the leaf, but it's gonna be fun.
I
man.
know. I'm trying to get me a
6 o'clock
babysitter.
PM.
I already tried to get me a babysitter
sure
for that
that.
on Monday. I was like, okay, Peanut stepping into a new world. Let me be there.
There we go.
But yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you to the trainer who thought I was the client this morning.
Hey.
With the yellow shirt on.
Boy,
With the yellow shirt on, okay?
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay tuned. There will be more and more conversations, maybe like this, maybe not like this. Gym City Mama is working.
Sure.
This is work in progress. I'm gonna get there.
And
I got my guys supporting me.
Yeah, and let me say I got a podcast coming soon. It's gonna be Mono We Mono. We're gonna talk about how to be masculine as men. We're gonna start trying to learn some self-development and understanding what manhood really looks like. So we're gonna be having some good conversations with some guys who are really men. You know, so be looking forward.
I can't wait to be on that podcast.
Okay, look.
I can't wait to be on there.
But thank y'all. Stay tuned.
For sure. And we are over 1 million t-shirts sold, man. That's a set.
It is, but I'm upset we ain't sold 2 million yet.
That's all. What's most important for you at T-Shirt Kings, man?
Customer service, man. Taking care of my customers, making sure that they major.
What about your team?
I got the best team in the world. They get busy. They love the customers. We got a saying, I don't gotta go to work. I get to go to work.
What are some of the different styles of shirts that you can get made here?
I got DTF printing. We are definitely the screen print kings. We turn that around immediately for you, which, by the way, is what separates us from other companies. Somebody will tell you it takes 2 weeks. I tell you it's gonna take 2 days.
Where do you see T-Shirt Kings like 5-10 years from now?
We're already the best t-shirt company in the world. We already are coming up with concepts that I don't see anybody else doing. You order 20 shirts, 10 of them are free. Bulk discounts, fast turnaround, and free designs.
It's completely world class.
It's your homie C-Lock from Network and Chill, where the network is real and entrepreneurs build, man. Y'all come on and rock with us.
Sean Fields, man. Y'all know where to catch me every single Monday night. We coming with heat, man. Y'all gotta make sure y'all get y'all's priorities together, man. We going over small business entrepreneurship, some financial tips, man. Pete, tell me, man.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, hey, it's your boy Peanut, CEO of Dash Resource LLC. Your business is my business, and this guy needs a logo. Pharaoh.
Yo, it's Pharaoh. Yeah, make sure you at Gym City Market. Monday, December 19th, man. We there. Entrepreneurs. Yeah, come on.